Earlier today, we played out a multi-hour rejection for the US dollar index. The US dollar index over the past 1 hour has reclaimed a lot of that lost territory. And we can see that the S&P 500 was moving up as the US dollar was going down. And now that we saw this bounce here, well, the stock market is also rejecting. Bitcoin did something very similar. So looking at the US dollar index from the 4-hour chart, we can see, yeah, we are sustaining these levels. We are getting continued higher lows, higher highs, and it doesn't seem like the momentum is slowing down anytime soon. So if the US dollar index does break out on the daily here once again and sees another higher high on this run, that could be bad for Bitcoin. That could cause Bitcoin on the daily to maybe even see lower lows here, at least from our recent low, right? And in today's video, I want to talk about exactly when Bitcoin can find a bottom and what the DXY, the US dollar index, would look like in that event. And we're going to be talking about the past cycles and how this has played out before and exactly what we need to look for to find a Bitcoin bottom. All of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about exactly when Bitcoin is going to be able to find a bottom, create the bottom, and have a recovery, and what that looks like in relation to the US dollar index. Now, before we get started, smash the like button, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Looking at Bitcoin on the all-time chart from the very beginning in 2011 to where we are now, if I go over here and just pull up the US dollar index, I'll just go ahead and make the US dollar index green. There's something that I noticed about this. Yesterday, I had a discussion with William Clemente on Twitter, and that tweet thread kind of gave me a chance to explain what I see on the charts and how Bitcoin usually interacts with the US dollar index. And essentially, it comes down to this. Now, a lot of people, when we talk about Bitcoin and the US dollar index, a lot of people think that, oh, well, the US dollar index just needs to find a top, needs to top out and go straight down so that Bitcoin can go up. And I found that that is not the case. The US dollar index doesn't need to be on a downtrend necessarily for Bitcoin to find a low and basically begin some sort of bull market or uptrend. For example, if we go back to 2011, Bitcoin began bottoming out right here as the US dollar index finished this little bounce. And what you'll notice is that back here, the US dollar index was seeing like horizontal highs. It was more so just in this sideways channel. And what was Bitcoin doing then? Bitcoin was bottoming out and going up as the US dollar index was going sideways. But why is it? Why is it? Like, look over here. Why is that? In 2015 to 2016, basically we see this broadening wedge, sort of like a bottleneck. And as it expands out from the bottleneck, Bitcoin's going up. But the US dollar index is still seeing higher highs. You guys see that? Higher highs for the US dollar index. It's actually going up, but Bitcoin's going up. So it's not about the US dollar index going down. It's about the loss of momentum, right? Like, look back here in 2011. We come up, lose momentum, go sideways for the US dollar index. And when we go sideways, Bitcoin runs up. 2015, US dollar index is going parabolic, very similar to now. But once it finds that bottleneck zone and begins to that broadening wedge, it doesn't need to be going down necessarily in the long term for Bitcoin to go up. It just needs the loss of momentum and go sideways, right? The US dollar index can still be seeing higher highs and Bitcoin continues to go up. It's just the idea that it's losing momentum and that cash is flowing elsewhere as it's going sideways. Same thing over here in 2019, higher highs for the US dollar index, right? It's actually uptrending. But what is the key factor for this range here, even though it's going up? Well, it bounced up and began to lose momentum, going sideways. And when that happened, Bitcoin finds a bottom and runs upward, right? Of course, when the US dollar index does go down here, yes, that is the most bullish part of the trend. That's the most bullish part. But my point is, in order to find a bottom, what we need is just a loss of momentum and more sideways action rather than going straight up like we are right now. So I think that's pretty, I think I explained that pretty clearly. The loss of momentum is the most important part, not necessarily just finding a top. So the US dollar index right now in the short term on the daily here looks like it's going to keep going up. And as long as the US dollar index is just going straight up, well, that's bearish for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's likely going to see more downside actually, as long as the US dollar index is going up. Now, if this changes, of course, let's say if we just go to the monthly for the US dollar index, check out the US dollar index back in that 2014, 2015 range right there. And just let me remind you, that is this zone right here. When the US dollar index comes up, it's that sideways momentum, even though it's getting higher highs. Look, higher highs, it's the sideways action that does it. But what we saw first was a major monthly rejection right there, huge monthly rejection. And that was kind of like the signal, the early warning signal that the US dollar index is finding or slowing down in momentum. Now we got one here, but it wasn't at a new high for the US dollar index, right? This monthly rejection. It was just at the previous resistance, reject, continue up. But what we would want to see to maybe signal that it's potentially losing momentum is a major monthly rejection back down, and then, you know, some chop, some sideways chop. And when something like that happens, even if the US dollar index goes up to a slightly higher high again, that doesn't mean Bitcoin can't go up. It can go up, even if the US dollar index is getting higher highs. But what we need to see is sideways action, sideways chop leading into it, right? See that? It's going higher, but look, choppy, right? 2012, choppy, sideways. Choppy sideways. 2019, choppy sideways. Choppy sideways is the key for the US dollar index. So that's what we need to see. We need to see multiple months of rejection and sort of just lingering in a certain area. And that's when we know that cash will be flowing back into crypto. So right now, there's no sign of this stopping. And if you're going to bet against the US dollar index, well, you're just kind of making a blind bet, hoping that you're going to catch some exact top. And it's very risky to bet against an asset with momentum, right? It's very risky to do that. We have to get some sort of clear signal here. And I noticed that a lot of people have been talking about the bearish divergence here for the weekly on the US dollar index. The last time we saw a run like this was back in 2014 right here. And even over here, you can see from this high right here to the next high here, right? Higher highs on price, lower highs on the RSI, bearish divergence. Well, it didn't play out, guys. We just continued up. And I think it's really less about the charts right now. It's less about, you know, trying to use indicators to call the top on the DXY. I mean, it's really all what the Fed does, what the Fed says. And there's so many other factors, right? Right now, there's so much stuff going on. We can't just look at the charts and try to make a call based on the chart. I think that any global event or anything the Fed does can change that, right? So the charts are less reliable actually right now. But the important thing is Bitcoin's relation to the US dollar index and how, you know, the behavior that takes place during Bitcoin bottoms is simply choppy sideways on the US dollar index. Choppy sideways, guys. And if you look right now, well, we're going straight up. So once we find a top and we start getting choppy sideways, I think Bitcoin at that point would then bottom out and look to recover slowly. Right, slow recovery is usually the name of the game here. I don't think we're going to get any sort of instant recovery. As I'm making this video, Bitcoin's actually falling back below 20,000. And let's go to the US dollar index on the hourly. It is pumping up, guys. Look at that as I'm making this video. And we are very close to the recent high. So, you know, if the US dollar index breaks out again, which seems likely, and it's going to sort of invalidate the bearish divergence that everyone's talking about, is probably likely. Again, the charts are not reliable right now. Not reliable. The fundamentals are everything. If that happens, if the US dollar index breaks out, Bitcoin may be looking to head to a new low here, or at least retest the low, if not a lower low. So, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, as long as the DXY is just going to the moon, Well, it's not gonna be good for Bitcoin. Remember, choppy sideways. Sounds kind of funny, choppy sideways. But that's the key, guys. That's the key to finding a bottom for Bitcoin. But that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel. Check out all the links below if you want to support this channel. Become a patron, join our Discord VIP chat. I stake my Ethereum on Kraken, and also you can get $4,000, thousands of dollars in rewards to trade with if you use this BitGet link. And remember, if you sign up, you have to deposit the $100 and basically follow the steps within 24 hours once you sign up to get that $4,000 or up to $4,000 trading money that you can use, right? But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon.